Hello, you beautiful nerds. Welcome to the Drunk Banthas podcast, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and all of the popular art that we love. Also, we do it drunk. I'm joined, as always, by my brother Bill. How you doing?
It's a Westworld, and we don't know where we're going. Is it a Westworld though? Are they kind of going more east? Are they in the west? I don't
Yeah, it
even know
does.
where they are.
Yeah, it does seem like we end up in the Midwest by the end of the episode. But I guess we'll get there. It is like
However we get there.
More of a Midwest 20s world. But today we are having a spoiler-filled discussion about episode 2, season 4 of the HBO original series Westworld, Leave Well Enough Alone. What did you think of this episode, like first impressions of like how the season's turning out so far?
Man, first impressions, I feel like, I don't know if you had a chance to go back and look at any of the older episodes other than the few that you've watched in season 3, but I feel like we're watching almost like a retelling, a redoing of the first season. So first episode, we get introduced to Dolores. She's this character who has this loop, and we basically find out this loop and then this tragedy throughout this episode. This melancholy feelings like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
And then quickly you start finding out that these people are bad. We're the bad guys. People, human.
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, we don't even get introduced to Bernard or Arnold's character until the 3rd episode.
I think that is how it goes. I can't remember exactly because I think like the second episode definitely follows just like Will in that flashback.
Right.
But yeah, I think that the first episode more focuses on Evan Rachel Wood, and
the 3rd episode, and then the 3rd episode focuses on like, this is the park. This is what's going on in the park. This is what we've been doing. And those are the first hints that we get that Bernard is an android, and all these types of things, or a host. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like we're going to see, again, for the first time, we're going to see Jeffrey Wright's character, Bernard Arnold, for the first time this season on episode 3.
Okay, yeah. And I think
this second episode was more about, just like the first season's second episode was more about the past,
mm-hmm.
and connecting with, like connecting with what William has been doing and what William was doing in the past. And now we're going to come forward, because I think what we're seeing William do with the vice president and all this stuff, I think that is like the first 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Leading up to where we are in the present with Maeve and old buddy. Can't remember his name for some reason.
Well, I think that they already mentioned that like he said like 8 years, something was stolen from me.
Right. He's in so I think Maeve and Dude are in the present.
Okay.
William's character that we've seen so far is in the past, 8 years before, right during the war, right before the war, or right after the war, excuse me. And
like the riots at the end of the season 3.
Exactly. So I think he's dealing with stuff post that. And I believe that somewhere in between is a timeline for Dolores, who may be in the future,
mm-hmm.
or at least future world.
Right. Yeah. It does seem like more and more that she's in her own park. And we'll get into like different nods to that later, because I'm very interested. Because you mentioned like in the first episode that she seems like this Dolores copy is in a park. But
Christina Dolores.
That's Christina, Christina Dolores. Christina Dolores Wood. The beginning we get like the raw copy of Dolores and Charlotte's body is revealed to be replacing the U.S. government officials with host copies. with William Host acting as her like enforcer and continuing as CEOs of Delos. So she keeps the human William alive in cryogenic stasis while she still has like her host William out here just doing her own like little cyborg invasion thing.
Yep.
What
I got a theory about that too. I got a theory that, well, we know that Tessa Thompson's character is actually Dolores, right? It's just like crazy,
right? Just like a different version of Dolores. Yeah, she's jilted because she
got blown the fuck up with her family. That
right? Yeah,
I don't know if that's jilted, but yeah, it jilt me all the way up. Blow me up, goddamn it! I'm gonna fucking kill y'all.
Yeah, lack of a better word. Yeah, she's on a revenge tour.
Yeah, so like I think that she's still in love with William to a certain degree. And I think that's the reason she's keeping him alive. She said that she's keeping him alive so that she can have somebody to brag to and complain, right? Like, so he can.
Yes, so somebody can be the loser. Yeah.
And so yes, exactly. That's exactly what she said. Somebody to be the loser. But I think it's because she loves him.
Right.
And she needs to see her win, because he made her lose so many times. And now he get to be the one to see himself lose.
Right. Yeah, that would make more sense. Or like that would be more satisfying for me than like just, I want you to be the loser, because that just makes it feel like the writers are just like, oh, he's gonna do something cool later, so that's the only reason he's alive. He's gonna escape, right. And he's gonna do something cool like in like the penultimate episode of this season.
I think that she's somewhat still in love with him,
Yeah, that would make sense. That would be interesting.
They say that the hosts don't forget. Their memories aren't like humans.
Mm-hmm.
They remember everything at one time. So that's why Dolores had so much trouble distinguishing between certain times.
Right. And it seems like
ridiculous. Well, this is pointless. So
what is
microphone? It's not recording. I don't know why, but this is real life, people. This is live, y'all.
Technical difficulties, these things happen. But it's interesting that like she had mentioned that she's not just gonna replace each each human with a host like one by one. She's like, that's not practical. She has a bigger plan than mine. I don't think she fully explains what that plan is, but I guess it has to do with flies. And and also like they mentioned they already had like 249 replacements or replacement hosts or whatever, right?
Shout out to the man in the wire rim glasses.
Yeah, man in the hormone glasses. Yeah. And that's and that woman from Deep Blue Sea.
I was like, apparently the lady was from Deep Blue Sea. I'm like, who remembered that? Come on, y'all.
Hey, I did. I was like, oh yeah, she was that annoying chick who I was just like hoping would die the whole time.
I remember her. I remember more Samuel L. Jackson getting eaten by a shark when I remember her. I remember Liev Schreiber in there more than I remember her. Like, what?
I mean, well, yeah, like what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson getting eaten by the shark is the best part of that movie, of course.
Iconic.
It's probably his best scene in any movie he's ever done. But yeah, speaking of which, Maeve and Caleb, like later on, they encounter host copies of California Senator Ken Whitney and his wife Anastasia, because they were killed by William and replaced by host, or no, the what's it called? The senator was killed, but for whatever reason they kept Anastasia alive
for some type of science experiment. Maybe related to the flies I mentioned earlier last episode.
Yeah, it seems like you were right about that. Like the flies are some form of something. There's something going on with the flies.
There's some form of brain control, man. I'm telling you, they get in there.
Yeah, brain control.
They start doing you like Ratatouille. Ratatouille. They start doing you like Ratatouille.
Yeah, as we all know, the real movie is Ratatouille. Ratatouille doesn't exist anymore.
Ratatouille.
Yeah, there's
a real
something
raccoon in that movie. Apparently, it was a real taxidermied raccoon that they actually used.
Really? That's gross.
Right? It's an actual dead raccoon on top of this dude's head.
That's hilarious, but that's gross. Shout outs to that actor. I think his name is Henry Shun Jr. He's great. Not enough stuff. But anyway, we'll talk about that more on our Everything Everywhere All at Once podcast. But yeah, like when Caleb and Maeve, every time I see Maeve's name, I always think back to The Boys.
Right, it's not confusing at all.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of Wills too. Like there's Willie Butcher and
when you said William earlier, I was thinking Butcher, and I was like,
right.
I was thinking that's not this show. Oh wait, there is a William on this show.
Yeah, very very weird. It's like, are there really like
for this purpose names? Of this show, we're gonna call him the Man in Black.
Man in Black. Yeah, that makes it a little easier. But yeah, Maeve and Caleb, they use the former's memory to log to learn Charlotte's involvement in the whole situation with like the body swap shit. So they find the real Anastasia in the horse farm behaving erratically, and Maeve is forced to kill her when she comes at him.
Attacks Caleb.
It's kind of weird. It seems like she went crazy pretty quick.
No, she wasn't crazy pretty quick. You have no idea how long she had been there by the time Maeve was there, and by the time the Man in Black was there. That's what I'm saying. There's a time lapse here.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like when William is going around doing all this that he has 249 hosts out there. I'm thinking what we're seeing is we're seeing three different time frames in this show. Once again, they're running that back. They went away from it last season because how can you do that 3 times in a row?
Yeah.
But the fourth time.
4 times the charm.
4th time you go back to the first thing that you did, and then you run that back.
Yeah, it seems like this story, I mean, I'm definitely more interested in this story with Maeve and Caleb than the what's it called, Christine Dolores storyline, because it does seem like they are retreading a lot of ground. The most interesting thing with that is like Teddy is like, what's going on with Teddy?
Well, I don't know. I disagree. Like, they made it more interesting because they made it to where, her boss is clearly stalking her, like he said, oh yeah, this thing only tracks you when you access your files. Like, well, why the fuck would it do that? Like, why?
Right.
Why would it do that? Like, I'm having to believe that you're a liar right now, sir, because I've never heard of things doing those things. So I'm believing, they're increasing the tension slowly with Dolores. And my question is, what if the Black girl is an actual person who's like, maybe they've decided we need to have, maybe it's like heroes. Since we just brought up heroes, Easter eggs. Maybe it's like we got to have one of them and one of us type thing.
Right.
And so they like keep somebody human to watch Dolores, keep an eye on her, make sure she's not doing something crazy. And she's the one who gets her to come back home when she realizes that the hospital that was built for this dude is already built. And like, how the hell they give him money for something that's built already?
Right.
With his name on it. And she also notices the tower that the homeless man was talking about in the little offshoot room that she sees in the hospital that was built for Peter, whatever his name is.
She's
what's his name on damn, I forgot his name. It's not Bobby, but anyway.
Oh yeah, Pyro.
So Pyro, after he jumped and killed himself, now he got a house, the whole building named after, a whole hospital wing named after him already. And she notices that there's pictures of a tower looking very similar to what we see in the desert on Westworld's new park.
Yeah, I didn't even twig the tower in the new park. But yeah, just to keep everybody up to speed, in case you didn't watch the episode, like Christina, while she's walking to work, she sees a homeless man drawing a tower, and then later when she finds out that her whole narratives are matching what happened to Peter, the guy who jumped off the building, she visits a mental health hospital in New Jersey, which Peter donated to, and then more technical difficulties. Hold on a second. Only to find out that it abandoned and riddled with drawings of the distinctive tower that you were talking about, that the homeless man was.
And the homeless man also mentioned that he's the only one who's able to hear the music that the tower plays. Also, he said, me and the birds. And when Christina Dolores is ready to go into the office, she notices dead birds on the ground. And so she says, I ain't going to work today.
Exactly. And it's funny, go back to the homeless man scene. I noticed that the people on the bench next to him weren't moving at all. At first,
that was a good find. That was a good pick.
At first, I noticed that one person, I thought one of the guys was looking directly at her. But then when I paused, I was like, oh wait, he's looking in that kind of direction, but none of them, all of them are static. They're this is clearly a fake world. Yeah. Yeah, it was very eerie.
You see more of the fakeness now that I've pointed it out.
Right. Yeah, you can definitely notice after you point out this might be a fake world, you can see all the weirdness.
And shout out to everybody else who's figuring this shit out on the internet. I just do not follow or listen to anything that y'all say, so that's why I won't be giving y'all credit for anything. But just know, I don't care about your theories. No, I'm just
yeah, it's weird because I try not to listen to other people's theories because I'm trying not to
take integrity,
subconsciously ruin stuff for myself.
Business. Yeah. Take integrity.
Yeah, I just want to enjoy the show for the show. But you can't help but just make little theories for the future. But I just don't want to hear everybody else's theories. But anyway, yeah, that was an interesting part of that storyline. I'm curious why she didn't just when she was in the actual mental hospital, she didn't just after she saw all the drawings of the tower, she didn't open the door and look more. She just kind of got scared and ran away.
No, it was, remember her homegirls on the phone bitch, bring your ass back.
I mean, yeah, but you could spend 3 more minutes looking in that room.
I'm just telling you, that's my theory. She has an ability to kind of bring her back in.
Oh, right. Yeah, maybe some sort of freeze all motor functions type of way of
something a little bit more subtle than that.
Or sun's getting real low. Sun's getting real low, big guy. With the Hulk and the Black Widow.
Right.
But yeah, then later, following the cryptic directions of Anastasia's crazy ass, Caleb and Maeve go find themselves on a train headed toward the Delos's new park, which is so funny because me and my girlfriend were watching the first episode the other day, and we were like, the show feels very different because we're not in the park anymore. We're just kind of dealing with the potentiality of the technology created from the park. But now we're going back into the park, baby.
Yeah, baby, we in the park now, baby. And shout out to how they end up going to the park, because it was very similar to the walk. The walkthrough was very similar to how they walked in.
Yeah,
they changed they made it more black, which maybe even homage to William, and they put the chandelier in there. I think it was all just to make sure. Well, actually, I know this for a fact because I listened to Jonathan Nolan.
And oh yeah,
are they ex-wives now? They exes now. They're not together.
Oh, did they break up?
I don't know. I think so. But anyway. I was listening to them do an interview at a post-credits interview on HBO Max. Give us some money. And I was listening to them, and they were talking about how they were intentionally trying to change that scene of a lot so that it wouldn't seem obvious to the viewer what's about to happen. Right. And they did a great job. I didn't know until it was until it pulled off and it was a train. I was like, they going into the park. And then she was like, Maeve starts reciting her line that she's used in the park when she was Madam.
Oh, what? Oh, I didn't even tweak that. What was the line?
When she says, when she starts talking about how she finally got her feet on solid ground or whatever.
Oh, right.
That's the first line that she uses in the first episode of season 1.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice that. That's cool.
She started going back into it like automatic. And but she changed it up. She only uses the first line and then she changes it up, deviate from what they use in the first season. Yeah, they're doing an amazing job of tying the first season into the second season. I mean, into the fourth season?
Yeah, fourth season, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing an amazing job of tying in the first season to the fourth season. I don't know how many they plan on going for and how long they plan on doing this, but they are doing a fantastic job. And this is how you should feel, viewers, listeners. You should feel like if you watch this show and you don't know what's going on after the first episode or even sometimes the second episode, you're like, I'm so confused. There's two things happening there. One is you probably need to pay a little bit more attention. Probably just need to pay a little bit. And the second thing is amazing writing is taking place. Amazing writing taking place.
Why are you trying to poke people? Are you trying to like poke people in the eye?
Get in there. Get it. That's for all the fans of my fingers. That's the fan. I got hand fans. I got hand fans. My hand fans is out there. Shout out to y'all hand fans.
Hashtag hand fans.
A hand is a fan. Hand is the first fan.
What do you think about the park being set in the Roaring 20s and it seems like Chicago, or a train to either coming to? I think it's even going to or coming from.
We're watching a portion of the present, mixed with a portion of the past, mixed with the portion of the future. I think it's even more evidence because the park that Christina Dolores is in is not in the 20s. So that must mean
obviously,
time period than Dolores, or they're in a different part of the park than Dolores. Maybe it's only 2 time periods. Maybe she's there in a different time and they are going to meet up with her in the present.
Right.
I don't know. I just know. Or maybe Dolores is the one in the present. And Maeve and
Caleb.
Motherfucker, these white boy names.
Huey. Let's just call him Huey since we're just like using names from other shows.
I was not using names, brother.
No, I mean, like, but they are.
How was you get confused like that with the Maeve? Queen Maeve.
Maeve and Bill.
Hey, I'm down with that. Let me tell you something. Maeve and Bill now. Let me tell you something now. Maeve and Bill, we can be a good thing. Bandy. We could be a good thing.
Yeah, that'll convince her. It's like the crazy eyes.
She wanted the hand fan.
But yeah, I thought it was an interesting idea to go into the Roaring 20s. I'm assuming that we're gonna get into some like crazy gangster style stuff. And I'm excited to like get into the park aspect of it again.
We gotta get back to the roots, which is actually kind of something that's what Ed mentions. Ed Harris's character, the man in black, he mentions that. He said, I'm trying to get back to my roots.
Yeah.
Back to my foundation.
It's funny that he even mentioned or Jonathan Nolan mentioned in like the post show stuff that one of the reasons they chose this time period is because like it's kind of a time period where quote people were like having fun to death, or just like enjoying
indulging themselves to excess.
it was like going overboard. And I feel like, you know, this is just like, especially when we have this world where you can create a whole nother world just to, you know, escape your everyday life. This is just like even more of that. It's like, oh, why not go back to the world, to the time where like people were also roaring back from something awful, but just like indulging life to the fullest. It's like very much a parallel to this world that they're in right now.
I don't know why it's called the Roaring 20s when literally the Great Depression happens right after. I don't understand what was roaring. What was roaring? What was roaring?
I mean, like, I think there's like there was just a lot of
what was roaring is a goddamn economy collapse. That was the fucking roar.
I think it was just like, what was it, just technology innovation because of like the steam engine or whatever it was.
A bunch of niggas going into debt and then the fucking poor people gotta fucking eat the fucking shit. That's a bunch of bullshit. Roaring 20s. Roar my asshole.
I mean, yeah, like I imagine this is gonna be like a lot of commentary on capitalism as per usual with the show.
That's what this show's about, right? Social commentary on capitalism and the capitalistic nature of the fucking human being who is not worth shit.
Right. Check out our podcast on the New Deal next month.
Check out my I'm gonna do a Cornell West. We'll do a whole Cornell West podcast starring me and Cornell West.
That's funny. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I met Cornell West once. It was cool. I said what every person says when they meet a celebrity, which is like this generic. I'm a real big fan of your work. I really hope that I would say something like more intelligent when I meet a celebrity, but unfortunately, that's what falls out.
No. He's not a celebrity, really. He's just a professor of Coolidge. Anyway, most people don't even know what the fuck we're talking about, so let's keep it going.
Cornell was his. I mean, he's I don't know. I feel like he's kind of famous.
We gotta keep on going.
I mean, well, we're at the end, but yeah, thanks for listening to the Drunk Banthas podcast. We try to do this every once in a while, so go ahead and leave a like so you can get updates on new videos. Check us out on Twitter, IG, TikTok, likewise, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the internet things at the Drunk Banthas. Until next time, stay safe, my little hosts, and may the force be with you.